welcome back to Rescue Us. I am, as always, with Giovanni, Alex, Jen, and myself. We're back. We've got season 4, first half on the docket. How you guys doing?
I'm a little hurt. Fun. I don't know.
From Jerry?
Yeah, this episode's.
So, we were watching it, and I knew that Jerry does what he does. I remembered it, but I thought it was late in the show.
Same.
And he starts to do his routine, and I had this like, oh fuck, like
Me
this
too,
like right
yeah.
now, like it's happening right because I knew the scene leading up, and I was just like, oh my god, no, it's such a. So we're gonna gloss over a little. We'll go back. It's episode 2 of season 4.
Tuesday.
Jerry is basically told you're not going to be the chief anymore. You're going to have a desk job. Like your ticker can't take it.
Mm-hmm.
And he seems enthusiastic about it. There's a whole scene of him going through his day, eating his breakfast, brushing his teeth, and then just like his old man, he puts a gun in his mouth, except where his old man failed, he unfortunately succeeds and Jerry's gone.
Yeah.
What a kick in the crotch.
Yeah, my wife was watching. She's watching episodes as I'm watching them, and she's like, "I need to watch this show." I was like, "You can start from the beginning and catch up to us. You won't miss out on anything. Like it's that good."
Yeah.
And as soon as that episode started, I'm like, "Fuck."
Yeah.
And she's like, "What?" I'm like, "Oh, somebody's gonna die."
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, and I've also I then was reading some shit of it, even the actor who plays Jerry was like, "What the fuck? I'm dying." Like it was a complete just shock to him, and basically you're out of the show, Jerry.
That's rough.
This season with its fucking dream videos were kind of bad too. Like it you really pulled you like Jesus Christ, I gotta stop doing it.
Well, there was one dream video
in the parking lot of the grocery store.
God, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's one dream that I thought, one sequence that I thought was a dream, but wasn't, when the floor collapsed in the building and they all just ended up falling out of the building.
That was one of the first times they've done that where it's like, oh no, this is clearly a dream. And then it's like, oh wait, no, it's not.
Yeah.
That was hilarious.
I had to rewind. I was like, wait, what the fuck did I miss? Did I miss something? So I rewound it. I played that again, and I was like, okay. That one was pretty bad for me.
With that said, I have a feeling this first half is going to be kind of a quick run through because not a whole lot happens really. As far as these seasons have a mile a minute shit is going on, and this season's a little different thus far. Very localized. A lot of it is, and how do you not feel bad for Tommy for these 6 episodes?
Oh, absolutely. And with Tommy's story, it's very much how he's handling being told you did this because you were drunk, but you can tell in his acting and in his character that he clearly didn't drink during this event, and he's struggling with that heavily. Because he knows what he's like when he's drunk. He knows what it feels like. He knows what he's going through. And as the first 6 episodes go on, his demeanor is like, nah, this didn't happen the way it happened. He knows something is off.
He does know what it's like to be when he's fucking completely smashed, but this is blackout. He's not waking up the same. So it's like he's thinking did I fucking do that? He's like, no.
Well, it's almost like he's okay with being the monster if he did it. Yeah, but the way things have happened, this doesn't happen to me. And to his credit, he's trying his best with I mean, Janet is full on postpartum depressive, hates the child. The youngest daughter hates the child. He's the only one really giving the kid any sort of love. And he's coming home from a tour. And she's been sitting on the couch. The kid's eating 2-day-old pizza. She's just a wreck. Janet really is just a piece of shit in this season. Literally, there's that scene where he tries to have the talk with her, and she just left the house with the youngest daughter and the baby alone to get wine. And
then she leaves the house with wine.
Well, not only that, but the bitch has the audacity to offer him some. You want some?
Yeah.
You know, literally, you blame him for the destruction of your family on his drinking problem, and you're offering him wine. Like, you really are a vindictive cunt.
Well, I think it's a double-edged sword here with her, because not only is the baby clearly she's having problems with the baby, you know, the depression, but if you look at it, even on the outside, even all the shit going on, Tommy kind of has his shit together and she doesn't. It's usually reversed.
Yeah.
And I think that's really hitting her hard.
Everything that's going on in his life right now. Yeah, that's
he's for the first time I think within the show he's maintaining. Like he's not having like even if he is drinking, he's not doing obsessive drinking. He's trying to take care of his family while working a shitload, coping with the death of his fucking. I mean, by episode 2 of Death of Jerry.
Yep.
You know, and then like he does have that wig out moment when they kind of just start talking shit about Jerry for killing himself.
Dude, that was, and you know what? I teared up a bit because that was a rough conversation.
How he's talking about how he's going into buildings with no mask, nothing but a cigar hanging out of his mouth in the Bronx.
That actually happens in episode 3 though, so episode 2 builds up to it.
Well, they don't really. The boys don't because episode 2 ends with him doing it. And the boy,
3.
or is it episode 3 he kills himself? Yeah. Okay.
Because episode 2 is when he goes to his son's.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, his son's.
You know what threw me off is we still.
Actually, that's episode 3 too. Sorry.
Well, when Jerry kills himself, the boys don't see it at that point, and so until the next episode, and then one of the big things is they show the report of coronary failure. So there isn't that he's not going to be
so he doesn't lose his pension.
That was because wife. Tommy was pulling strings and talked to his brother's old partner. Who, I mean, it's kind of a dick thing to do, but it was a good thing on his part.
He wanted to make sure the son got what he needed, that there was money left over to take care of the mom. Yeah.
I also felt. Sorry.
I was just going to say there was a little foreshadowing, though, before Jerry did kill himself, because in the firehouse, when Jerry does pay a visit to Tommy and talks to him about, hey, I fixed that little problem you were having because fucking Janet, she had basically started that fire at the end of the last season.
No, Sheila.
Sheila, yes. Sorry, Sheila. Yeah. So she started that fire at the end of the last season in order to get insurance money. So there's a claim, and they're looking into it.
No. She didn't start the fire for the insurance. She started the fire because she's a psychotic bitch.
Well, yeah, because she's crazy. But then she played it off
to kill him.
Yeah, I mean, he could if there were security cameras or any sort of if he wasn't roofied. He could have testified that it was attempted murder.
Absolutely. I mean, that's literally what it was.
But so she's trying to get the insurance money from that house for that fire that she started. And, they're looking at going to court, and Tommy asked Jerry, since you're working in the office, can you help take care of this problem for me? So Jerry then comes back to Tommy and says, hey, I took care of that little problem. Just remember, I had your back, you have mine when the time comes. So it's a little bit of foreshadowing because
that whole scene is foreshadowing, because does anybody know Jerry just to why would Jerry risk that the first week on the job in his desk duty?
Yep.
If he didn't think he wasn't going to be there. There is some foreshadowing. You don't realize until it's all retrospect.
And it's even sadder leading up to that, because the whole way through, every one of his men on the job still call him chief. He's like, no, I'm not chief. Even Tommy tells him, he's like, you'll always be chief. Yeah. Like, we're always going to call you chief.
He was able to be at his son's wedding. So that was at least nice.
And Jerry was even like, I'll be living off, I'll be working in the office. I'll be living off, disability or something like that. And he's like, and I'll see you boys every once in a while.
Yeah, maybe move down here, put you work on my golf game, so they buy him golf clubs. The one weird thing about it is they don't give him a send off with the wife at all.
No.
Yeah.
Like she's just
already
gone. Yeah, like he doesn't go visit her at all or anything, which is, I think if he would have done that, then it wouldn't have been a shock, is why they didn't do it. Like if he goes and makes amends with the old lady, then it's like, well, why is he doing this? I think they give a little bit of hints, a little bit of foreshadowing, but not enough for you to know that he's gonna blow his fucking head off.
Well, yeah, because he even says something to his son at the commitment ceremony, like, your mom really does appreciate and she looks forward to having company, whether or not she remembers you. And, he makes sure that his son does vow to make, regular outings and trips of visiting her. So that in that sense, that's him kind of making sure that she's always going to be looked after by a family member.
Well, now the money issues don't matter because she's got his pension, which is the biggest reason why they didn't mark it as suicide.
Right.
Yeah. But what I was getting at too about Johnny's old partner, like he's already feeling guilty about Johnny's death, and Tommy's kind of playing at that, and it was for a good reason, at least this time.
Well, there's that loyalty of like he was my partner. I loved him. I'll do anything for his family. That sort of thing he looks at more or less of just like washing hands clean.
Which also brings it to the part where I thought he really was going to fall off the wagon when he went and got the Johnny Walker Blue.
Yeah, the $219 bottle. Yeah, I was like, holy shit.
Yeah. He's like, what am I doing? Paying $8 a fucking ounce?
So so midway through these episodes, we were introduced to Black Sean, whose real name is Bart. Yeah. And the only reason they want him is because he's a probie, but he can play basketball well, and they want to win the tournament. And I throughout these episodes, I was getting really frustrated how Tommy was just getting shit on by everybody. Like he's getting shit on by the chick that pulled him out of the fire because he's having dick issues. He's getting shit on by them because they backhandedly did this basketball thing. And then, while they got this new chief who's Mr. Nice Guy, they schemed their way into getting the basketball shit. And I do really appreciate when he finally has his words with them, where he's like, if Jerry was here, none of this shit would be going on. And basically puts him in check, which once again reinforces the idea that, like, Tommy's almost the only one right now that does, as much as everything's falling around him, he's really not the cause of it for probably the first time in the entire show.
Yep.
Yeah. He's like the glue right now, and everyone else is like, Janet's a dumpster fire. Sheila, so then there's the scene where she brings him his first advancement on the 1 point whatever million he's getting, and he looks at the check, and I do appreciate the fact he's got that whole like, something ain't right about this, and he's like, I can't take this. And then she finally comes out with that she wants to buy the baby that both him and Sheila don't want.
I forgot that too. Now when she said it, I'm like, you gotta be fucking kidding me.
When all that started happening, I thought she was gonna find a way to get Tommy to go into another room, and then she was gonna disappear, and Troy was gonna create like some kind of filter.
Troy, the guy with the biggest man crush on Tommy ever. He's got a fucking shrine to him in his bedroom.
Who also is from fucking Dexter.
Yes. Yeah, he was the Deborah's on-again, off-again boyfriend, the other detective.
And then the other guy that was also trying to find shit on
Dexter. Yeah, he didn't like. Well, I like how he shows up in a pea coat, and then like the next day he's like, "Is it just me, or was he fucking dressed like me?" Yeah. He's like, "No," and it's like, yeah. Stole his sunglasses and his TV remote.
He was trying to touch Tommy's jeans too to see what they felt like.
That was so weird.
And then he's like, nice jeans. He's like, what are those? And Janet's like, I don't know. And he's like, I know, Janet's bought it for him, maybe. I don't know.
But that's like one of the weird things. Like he walks into the apartment, and the first thing he looks at is like the TV controller. He's like, whoa. Like, what the fuck's wrong with this guy? Is he on some shit? Like
crazy attracts crazy.
I'm gonna say this, right? The youngest daughter hates the baby. Janet hates the baby. Within these 6 episodes, a full head of dark hair sprouts on the baby, letting you know that it is indeed Johnny's child. So Tommy is not bonded with the baby either. I say sell the fucker. Get your 1.1 million, give it to Sheila. She'll never bother you again. And then kick Janet out of the fucking house.
Because they already established
and never see her again.
But Tommy does have a better relationship than anybody with that baby.
Oh, he's the only one that has a relationship with that fucking poor baby.
And I think he's okay with the baby, even if it is Johnny's or not.
Yeah, that's that Irish Catholic that like I'm gonna even because you gotta understand. I mean, like, yeah, you may not be bonding with him as the child's father, but that's still your nephew. It's you're living with the mother of the child. Like, you still have deep blood roots to that poor child. And
plus Tommy loved, even though him and his brother fought, at the end of the last season, it proved that Tommy loved his brother.
Yeah.
And now that's the only connection. That's literally like the only blood connection left.
So, but that's the other problem is Janet tells him of her dream where the baby's just going deeper into the bathtub and she can't get him, and then she sees Johnny pulling the baby in. So it's almost like that Johnny is a cursed child, and like no matter I think it even shows in these first episodes, no matter what Tommy does to try to welcome this baby in, it's being rejected in every way, and it doesn't, as of right now, it doesn't have a happy trend, and they don't even have a name 7 months later.
If that would have been my wife telling me that she was dreaming that the baby drowned while she was going to bath, I would have been like, oh, okay. And the baby, while she's talking, I would have been packing the baby stuff. Like,
yeah, because at this point, it's either
here's a glass of wine.
It's either like give him to Sheila or Janet's gonna kill him.
Yeah, that's what I was worried that was gonna happen through the first half, because I can't remember the full season. But
that's why when episode 6 ended and he goes and sits in the car, I'm like, she's gonna kill the child. Go back inside.
Yeah,
so,
that's.
Go on, please.
That's what Matt and I were talking about at the end of that episode, where it's obvious she's going through postpartum depression. Whether Tommy loves her, hates her, that's the mother of his children, and I personally feel that if you're seeing her going through that struggle, get her some help. Like you're trusting her when you're going away to work with the life of your one daughter that lives with you and
who hates him. It's her
now
cousin, not her brother.
Yeah. And now this little newborn, like you got to get her some help. She's gonna be destructive, to the baby and then possibly to Katie, and
I really
it's
wish
not gonna end well.
That episode would have ended with him going back into the apartment, picking her up, taking her into the bathroom, and again, like, they don't show what happens, but you understand that he's cleaning her up and he's taking, like, Tommy, as much as I hate Janet, people still need to be taken care of, and like, he really does need to let go of some shit is the problem in order to do this. But the right thing for him should have been getting out of that truck, going, and the last scene could have been him picking her up like a brave fireman and getting her into the bathroom and ending it there, or him going in and kissing his daughter goodnight, saying goodnight to the baby, and then doing it. Like, he is going to have to pull her out of that slump. She's not going to do it on her own.
Well, they started to work things out together in episode 4, where they went and saw a therapist,
which was hilarious.
And finally, somebody fucking tells them, or like acknowledges that these two are so fucking crazy together, like the shit that happens in their lives, and it kind of pokes fun at like everything happens to Tommy's in this family, people dying, people, like all this shit.
Yeah,
like to one person.
Sorry.
How much chaos can follow one person in the life?
Well, he thought they were pranking him and called the other psychiatrist, like, "Oh, you almost got me with this one," and then you brought the dead kid was a little much, and they're over here like, it's real. By the way, what a piece of shit move to basically throw out the entire retrying to get together because he couldn't get hard. Like, that just shows you Janet really is like, Sheila's crazy, Janet's a villain. The oldest daughter is shacking up with
she's
Lucky Luciano from Boardwalk Empire. He's in a band, was it Naked Baby something?
I think it's Naked Babies.
Naked Baby Head or something like that?
Naked Baby Head.
Baby Head.
Yeah.
And he punches the kid in the face, and then the guys convince him that he's got to get his ass whooped by the kid, but the kid is such a pussy that he's basically just like laying on the ground, and the kid's like, it's like the fight out of Christmas Story.
And even all the boys looking at him were like, "Fuck, this is not."
They immediately were like, good. "Oh, he can't kick your ass." Is the problem? Like, and Tommy even says, like, I mean, come on, he's gonna kick my ass. And sure enough, the kid can't, so it's just awkward, like they're on the ground on each other, and Tommy's more or less just like, all right, can I get up now? Like,
they still never said what he went to jail for. They never said the young kid.
he's on probation for? Yeah, they never talked about it.
I'm sure by the end of this season it's gonna have, and I don't remember, but I'm sure it's gonna have the archetypal TV arc where something's gonna happen between him and the daughter. They're gonna break up. She'll be back home, and Tommy will have that decision of does he go fuck with the kid or does he let it go? Like I feel like every season has that sort of equation for Tommy of like, should Tommy respond? Should he not respond? What are the consequences of when he does respond?
Mm-hmm.
And I think it'll hit that same sort of tempo in the last half. I don't like so I remember liking Black Sean in the show, but I think it's gonna take. It must be in the later seasons when he is. Yeah, you don't like him. He comes in, says he's not doing probie work, and Tommy and him.
Cocky motherfucker.
Yeah, and he's disrespecting Tommy, and then I do like the inclusion of their new chief, who they say has got a giant dick. So they draw straws to try to figure it out. Yeah, by his ankles.
Do you think he's scratching the tip or what?
Adam Ferrara being more in this season is a great thing. He's just fucking hilarious in it.
Which one's that?
The Needles.
Oh, the assistant chief or whatever.
The younger dark-haired one. Yeah. So much so that I'm gonna find out where we can watch the American Top Gear, because he was in 3 or 4 seasons of it and it was really good. And Jen's like, Adam Ferrara's great in this, and I was like, we gotta fucking find those episodes of Top Gear. Like, we must watch them now. But yeah, I'm really digging him in it. The new chief is funny. I think I remember Conflict, but I don't remember anything about it. But so far, I'm liking him. I just don't like how they have the whole, like, and I don't like Lou with his Black Sean, like, no, we're going to clean the floors. And it's like, are you fucking kidding? You literally swore up and down and cursed out What's-Her-Face when she was in the firehouse.
Yep.
And here you are sucking the dick of this guy for a basketball tournament. Like, you're pathetic, Lou. Then you have his relationship thing, which
oh boy,
I'm 50-50 on.
Nun.
He's with the nun, but now she's no longer a nun, and all she wants to do is bang. And he can't keep up, and he wants to develop a relationship, and he puts her on a no sex notice, and then tells her that his cousin's coming in to dock his boat, and he comes home to her fucking Artie Lang.
Yeah, he docked his boat all right.
And then he has.
I love when he goes back and checks the door. Like, am I in the right apartment?
He's got a pathetic fight that he has with Artie. Gets his ass whooped, loses his girl. Which, by the way, that is so many red flags of crazy. Like, you need to drop that bitch. She's wearing her fucking nun thing while she's banging him on top of it. Like, how many sins are you trying to commit post fucking nunhood?
I love where his cousin steps over him and he's like, I didn't need to see that.
Oh, God.
By the way, I mean, I'm just going to say this. She's a good-looking girl and she's hanging around with these fat fucks. What is she doing? Like, you can get much better dick. I'm sorry. Like, between Artie fucking Lang and Lou.
Jesus.
Like, go find Franco. Him and his stupid relation. By the way, when his girlfriend, because Susan Sarandon pulls off the fiance, gives him back the ring, and it's like, really? Like, you're this insecure?
Yeah, there's something up with her. Like, it's weird with her reaction and the way she reacted that way. And
I do appreciate that they took the brother and his girlfriend bowling. And then it's like, she's in a wheelchair. Why did you take her bowling? Like, what are you doing?
Well, it's funny because when they first start talking about Richie's girlfriend, it's because Richie is talking to Franco about, doing something more with his relationship with his sister, and you guys need to get married type thing, because I want her out of my life, but I want my own freedom.
I'm horny, Franco.
yeah. And Franco's like, well, what are you talking about? And he's like, I have a girlfriend down at the rec center, whatever, and she's in a wheelchair and I want to have sex. And
she's got a sweet ass.
Yeah.
How do you know she's in a chair? You stand her up sometimes.
It's sweet to see his relationship with this girl, and that he does care about Franco, and he does want to see him in a better place with his sister. But yeah, that scene was pretty funny. Just the whole, you got to get married to her because I want to get some myself.
I think it's hilarious that his whole take was like, she's holding me down.
Yeah.
Like, and from everybody from the outside is like, she's being held back. She has to take care of her brother. And he's like, no, she's holding me back. Like, I need to live my life.
I like when he gets the phone call, Franco gets a phone call, and he's like, yeah, I need $2,000. He's like, for what? And comes, I'm over here thinking that he's like in a strip joint and he like ran up a tab, getting lap dances or something. But it turns out that he tried to fucking swallow a $4,000 ring so he could take it to his girlfriend. Holy shit.
Yeah, but the problem is that, like, I'll look at IMDb and it shows that the dude's in, like, a total of 13 episodes. So it's like, I have a feeling that whole arc is going to be done by the end of this season. Like, when he's not, you have to imagine that relationship will eventually get terminated. I do hope, and I don't remember, honestly, but I do hope his daughter gets brought back into his life somehow. Like, I think that he needs that more than a fiance or a wife, or, like, right now he needs to... That's basically a hole in his life that he won't even confront to his girlfriend. Like, they don't even really talk about it much.
Well, I feel like he's honestly using the commitment and this girl to kind of get over that hole. And it has to circle back around. If it doesn't, it won't make any sense.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Oh,
in every story arc of a season, there's an interesting story. And this one goes to Garrity for sure.
Holy fuck.
What's his middle name? Lorraine? Is it
Leslie?
Leslie. Garrity Leslie Sean.
So yeah, Black Sean tells him he's going to
Sean
change
Leslie
his
Garrity,
name. Yeah. He says he doesn't protest, but Tommy does. And then before you know it, like, they're all calling Sean Black Sean, even though he protests it.
Well, it's behind his back. It's not to him.
Yeah, but I mean, with Tommy, if Tommy comes back, because I think one of the things that Jen and I talked about was Tommy's been emasculated.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
By Janet and by everything going on, and
especially by Nona.
He was pulled out of a fire by a woman, and that's bothering him.
Mm-hmm.
So I really hope there's a reckoning at some point this season where Tommy comes back with full force, and it's kind of a sweeping motion of like, Janet, you're gonna get your shit together, and it's fuck you guys in this firehouse. You're Black Sean. You're the probie. You're gonna mop. You're gonna fucking clean up. I really hope that happens in the last half of the season, because if it doesn't, I'm just gonna lose my mind.
Janet needs that right now. Like all the tough love he's put on her, and
he does need to be soft with her, I think, right now. Like, he really does need to shed that anger.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's like, unfortunately, it sucks that it's on him to be the one to let go, because it really is. Like, by him being the one to let go, he's allowing her to keep her anger. He's allowing her to move through her emotions. But unfortunately, I think he does need to be the one in this instance to be a bigger person and say, okay, you don't need Tommy the husband. You don't need Tommy the father. You don't need Tommy the firefighter. You need Tommy, your lover and your husband and your caretaker. Because she definitely needs somebody, despite what's gone on, as much as I hate her, to pick her up, clean her up, show her she's valued. Because she does have postpartum depression, sure, but then she hasn't bonded with the child. And realistically, she's the one that should have the closest, because no matter who the father is, you're still the mother. And she's completely disconnected. So she's probably feeling very just like, the kid hates me. Tommy hates me. I've got no good relationship. I'm not talking to my kids. I'm not talking to my oldest because she moved out. The youngest hates the baby. That's all she talks about. So, like, she unfortunately does need soft Tommy now. She needs somebody to pick her up and take care of her, essentially.
Going back to Sean Garrity, his character. So in the very first episode, Sean knows about Maggie's big box of porn. He's not very happy about it because, he would rather her get off to him, or so they have a big fight about whether or not to throw it out, keep it. So it ends with her going to throw it out. Like, she feels bad for about doing this to Sean, treating him the way that she does, and she decides to get rid of the big box of porn. But later throughout these first 6 episodes, things aren't going so well between Maggie and Sean, and it ends in a fight where they threaten divorce on each other. So Sean, being the gullible, naive guy that he is, doesn't really mean it, but Maggie, being the person that she is, goes out, finds somebody at the bar, not even 2 days later, brings him back to her house, and she's fucking him. And then poor Sean comes in, and he's like, I'm really sorry, let's work this out, whatever. And then a guy comes out in a bath towel and his flip-flops, and he's like, where did you meet him from? She's like, the bar. And she doesn't even know his name. He's got to correct her on that.
Yeah, Maggie really is the most morally bankrupt Gavin. Like, she's just a total piece of shit. And
absolutely.
She's the worst alcoholic out of all of them.
She has fucking vodka bottles hiding in every fucking cranny of the house.
Behind the bathroom, in the couch, in the bedroom.
Her TV watching, her bedtime vodka, yeah.
She's just a dumpster fire, and Garrity's so fucking stupid, he's a pathetic human in this show, too.
That episode is also where the Spank Bank was introduced.
Yes.
And then when his 18-year-old daughter shows up, when she comes out in her panties,
yeah,
he has that. But that
don't put that in the spank bank.
It's not going to the spank bank. And then Luciano touches him, and he goes, "Oh, he touched me. You saw that guy?" He's like, "No, we don't see anything. We're looking." And he's like, "You can look up now, assholes."
Yeah, because the one thing about the reason why he told him don't put that in your spank bank is because Garrity does have Janet in his spank bank. And then he describes about her,
I love where Lou's like, when they first figured it out, Lou's like, give me the knives.
Yeah, I do hope Lou, once again, it's mid-season, and I'm just hoping Lou fucking has a good turnaround.
I know.
Like, his journey's sad. It's not fun. It's fucking depressing. He gets a gorgeous woman who happens to be a former nun and loves to fuck, and he can't even have that. Like, he can't even keep that. Like, all he's got to do is bang her to keep her, and he wouldn't even do that. Like, what a moron.
It's funny how Garrity's story ties into Proby's story. Mm-hmm. And it's funny because if you watch these first 6 episodes, when they're out on a fire, Proby's the only one who has his shit together.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the last big fire they do in the season, Proby's disappears. When they're going through the house or the apartment, they don't know where the fuck they're going. And then he's the one who shows up with the line. Mm-hmm. And to guide them out. Like, he's killing it in the firefighter game. His story's sad because his mom is dying of cancer, and then there's that conversation between him and the doctor where the doctor kind of, like, he's like, but she's going to be okay, right? And he's like, her chances are less than 10%. And, like, the doctor couldn't figure out how to tell him your mom's going to die. Like, he just wasn't getting it.
He keeps trying to dumb it down as much as he can without insulting him.
And then Garrity... which they haven't by episode 6. They don't know. I don't know what's going to happen with that end solution. But Garrity finds a kind of closet that's padlocked, and Black Sean tells him, "Hey man, copy his keys," because Proby has this thing where he doesn't want Garrity at the house if Proby's not home.
Yeah.
Yep.
So Garrity copies the keys, and he goes and he unlocks the padlock and finds out it's a closet full of his mom's old clothes and photos and stuff. And 2 of them, he says he found out that they had gay relationships, his family did, so he steals them. He's like John McClaning it with a Zippo to see everything, and lights the entire goddamn house on fire.
Oh my God.
Calls it in and takes off and goes to the bar.
No, speak English.
Yeah. And then he's like, yeah, there's a fire. I want to report a fire. And he's like, oh, a big goddamn fire. As he's like walking out of it, it's like, you said it, you fucking idiot. Like, you're a firefighter. You could have put it out.
I love where he's at the bar and he's telling the boys. Obviously, Proby's not there. And he's like, and I set it on fire. And they're like a grease fire? He's like, nope, like a fire.
No, like a full-on raging inferno.
And then that's where he gets his new nickname.
Yep.
First they were going to say Matches. Then they're like, no, Zippo.
Yeah. We should probably just back up just a little bit to explain why Garrity is living with Mike. So Mike's mother did pass away from cancer. Mike did have a conversation prior to that with Tommy about how his mother just asked him, to kill her, take her pain away.
On their mandate.
Yeah, on their mandate. So Mike was going to increase the morphine. He had this not so bright idea of potentially smothering her with a pillow. And then Tommy suggests, giving her a little bit extra morphine, let her go peacefully in her sleep. So when he does go to visit his mom, he does take some morphine off of the nurse's cart.
He's got those single-use ones that they would use in like World War II.
Yeah, he hides them underneath his leg, and then he ends up falling asleep. When he wakes up, the nurse tells him, your mother is gone. She passed peacefully in her sleep. So, and he immediately thinks that he's in trouble because he was going to do this, and
he thought he thought
he did.
Yeah. So she passes peacefully. So this just so happens to coincide with Sean's timeline of getting a divorce from Maggie and needing a place to stay. So that's how Sean and Mike are now living together, because Sean needs a place to stay. And then that's when he's, finding out that Mike's kind of keeping secrets and hiding stuff in the room.
He is. And the saddest part about it too is like when Mike finds out that his mother's dead, when he wakes up and the nurse is like, I'll give you a minute. He's not worried that she's dead because he knows she's dying. He's worried that he disappointed her by not.
He apologizes for not being the one that killed her.
I let you down.
Yeah. I was like, "Fuck." That's
he's
rough.
all sorts of fucked up in the head with that.
I
do feel bad for him the most because he is a sweet dude. He's just really, he's really in a hard spot.
The very first thing that went through my head when he told Sean, "No, we have to leave together because if I'm not home, you're not here." I thought there was gonna be some kind of weird like Norman Bates thing going on.
Yeah, like her body's in there or some shit.
Yeah.
I had that.
I thought he was going to be.
I thought that
like
too a little bit.
Yeah.
I even joked to Jenna, I was like, watch, he's got her fucking body in the closet. Like, it did have that sort of weird feel to it.
Like, I just thought something really, bad was going to happen with him. And it's like one of those weird reveals and shit.
Also, oh, sorry, go ahead. I didn't mean to step in.
I was going to say, but he's just really a dumb person. And he doesn't know how to do anything for himself.
And he even admits that. He's like, I'm a grown man. I don't know how to do my own laundry. And my mom did everything for me. And like, he understands that until now he's been living as a child.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
That's the first interaction that he's had with the guys where he's showing his emotions and they don't make any. Well, like
Luke gives him that hug. He's like, you're gonna make fun of me, and he's like, no, I'm not gonna make fun of you. Come here.
No, he stands up and goes, Lou, you make one gay joke about.
I'm not gonna make any gay joke.
He doesn't. Yeah.
He's like, I'm not gonna make a gay joke.
And then he just gives him a hug, and his awkward hug though, his hug's like it's almost like Dr. Evil, like come here. It's like a weird like pull in.
I love though when Mike leaves, they're like, you weren't gonna make a gay joke, and Lou's like,
his mother just died.
He's like, so first thing in the morning? He's like, yep, first thing in the morning.
And we attack at dawn. Fucking gotta love that camaraderie.
Oh my god.
I do want to say the final scene of the episode 6 where he basically just decides to fall asleep in the truck. It does show how much he's grown in that he understands, and that's what the whole imagery of them partying, and I took that as much less of him missing out on that family and more or less of him understanding that, like, going there, he's going to be drinking, breaking sobriety, going in there, he's not happy because the situation, so I think him falling asleep in the truck like he did is the ultimate, just like, I can't do either one of these. One avenue is breaking my sobriety because I'm not going to not drink with the fellas. They're already hammered now because that's the whole showing them drinking beer after beer. And I can't go in there because when I go in there, it makes me want to drink because I'm fucking miserable. Like, I did take that scene as very much him kind of at a crossroads of like, no matter what avenue I go to, it's all driving me to drink. And for the first time ever, he's actually actively trying not to. Mm-hmm. And I thought that was a great kind of like, okay, Tommy really does have his shit together in this moment. And everybody else is a pile of shit in this. And anybody who's causing drama, it's not because of him.
Especially still fucking Sheila is still.
Give her the fucking baby. Get your 1 point whatever million. Well, it's not your kid anyway. Fucking Janet doesn't want him. Sheila would probably never bother you again.
when Nona lets that thing slip about how Tommy actually had a hard on and stuff in the fire, and how everybody was like all amazed by it, and then going back to what Sheila was telling him that he got mad and drunk because he couldn't get hard. I thought right there was like, finally she's gonna have her shit. You're mad.
You're muted.
Oh, I wasn't. Just say it. I can barely see you.
I said it too, so that's why
I didn't hear you say it. I didn't hear it. It didn't come through. But that's the whole thing. Is like, but then you don't even know if that's true because Sheila manipulates him again, and talks about how like,
I fed that to Troy, and Troy.
And then she so that basically saying the only thing that got him hard, which was the ego boost he received by hearing it, is now supposedly false. She's taking that away from him, which is and I do appreciate how honest she is in that moment though, where she tells him like there's no more I think she understands that there's never going to be a them again. And now it's all about getting the baby.
But she's also like has this one point where she smirks because she knows the lies that she's telling Tommy, and it's like now she wants to ruin him. It's like, why? I just
and that's the whole thing is if he did, I'm going to assume there's going to be another conversation with Nona, and she is going to be like, no, you actually did have a hard on, and that's going to eventually come out. Like it has to eventually come out.
Yeah.
Like one of the things I hated about The Sopranos was the fact that the psychiatrist gets raped and Tony never finds out. Like I wanted Tony to do the murder, and I really hope this show the same way gives Tommy some of that
redemption.
Yeah, that end kind of satisfaction of knowing that he isn't this fucking monster. Because he's carrying that, like. And as of right now, at least, he's trying to do his best to not be that monster that he supposedly is. Any storylines we missed?
I don't think so. The one I was confused about, though, and I don't know if it's because they haven't showed his cousin yet, but like when Tommy is gets the book, the Bible.
The silhouette?
Yeah, who is that supposed to be?
I think it's him. I think it's Tommy. I think he's seeing the way I took it with his voice being deeper and things like that, I took it as maybe that's like older Tommy or the more mature Tommy inside of him. He's like basically talking to himself. I think that was supposed to be him talking to himself.
Okay.
Basically like his inner monologue visualized of just being like, the fuck are you doing? When was the last time you were at a meeting? Which is kind of showing that he's developed his own mechanisms for trying to stay sober. Like, and maybe you can even look at it. It's the Tommy of old that's haunting him. But yeah, I'm almost positive that was him he was talking to.
That makes sense. Because I couldn't figure it out. I'm like, who is that supposed to be?
Yeah, because it sounds like him. It's just a little bit deeper. He talks slower, a little bit slower to kind of throw it off. But I'm pretty sure it was supposed to be, whether it be like the old version of him that was badass Tommy firefighter guy, or if it's in the future version of him, the more mature subconscious of him that's kind of saying, hey, we need to get this shit together, otherwise,
The one character we haven't talked about yet is Teddy, Uncle Teddy.
Oh my God, Teddy.
Uncle Teddy gets released from prison for killing the drunk driver that killed Connor. He does not want to go home to live with his wife that he married while he was in prison and met while he was in prison. He feels that she's way too controlling now that he's on the other side, doesn't want to live that life with her. So he shacks up with his one NYPD buddy who helped him while he was in prison. And his friend is starting to get really annoyed with his behavior and just living with him as a roommate in general. So he ends up calling his wife, ratting him out, telling him, hey, he's here. Come and get him, essentially. So she comes there and confronts him and is like, you have a problem. You're an alcoholic. You need to get some help. So then he goes to get checked into a rehab facility where he thinks that it's just for 30 days. And then, it's a nice little 30-day, it's a detox, it's a cleanse. So he's sitting in group, and that's when he's like, wait, no, this isn't for life for me. This is just 30 days and I'm done. And he bolts it. He leaves. He sees a taxi pulling up, dropping off somebody else. He goes to get in the taxi, and he discourages the guy who was going to check himself into rehab, and like, this is forever. This isn't just for 30 days. They want you to do this forever. And you see him getting into the taxi and riding off, and then the guy that got out of the taxi just turns and starts walking away slowly.
I love where he tells the guy, he's like, they want you to stop drinking forever. He's like, can you imagine that? No alcohol forever? That's crazy. Like,
or when he's inside group, he's like, who here wants to quit drinking forever? And everybody kind of puts their hand up. And that's where he's like, fuck this, I'm out. I am kind of getting to the limit of my Uncle Teddy, where I'm okay if he's not there anymore.
Yeah, he's almost too much of a piece of shit at this point. Yeah. Like, you're just kind of a slobbing like bum. Like, you married this woman and now you're just dodging her because you're a piece of garbage. Like,
he's got his good comedic moments, but I think I'm getting there.
You fat old piece of shit. Like, if you're not going to settle down, fine, then divorce the woman. Like, stop being a piece of garbage. Like, literally, he says, I'm going to have to go on a killing spree to get away from... Are you kidding me? You could just divorce her, you fucking moron.
Well, the whole reason why he wants to get rid of her is because he thought that once he got out that she wasn't going to want to be with him anymore. But she says, no, I have new look on life. I want to be with you. I want to stay with you. And that's why he's like fucking all freaking out.
I do hope the second half of the season is a sort of reckoning for Tommy, where he gets his... He gets his... Everybody else needs to get their comeuppance when it comes to Tommy. He needs to reclaim his manhood back and reclaim the badassery and put his foot down on some things. I really do hope the second half of the season gives him that satisfaction.
I hope that Tommy learns how to play basketball.
Oh my god!
I love that scene. How they're calling him a pussy for playing hockey, and he's just beating the shit out of everybody on the court. Like, I found that it's just, hey, you called him a pussy. Like, this is his sport. This is the way he plays. I told Jen as soon as he grabbed the ball, I was like, he's gonna Michael Scott it.
But it's also like seeing Danny Zuko in Grease when he takes the ball and he starts hitting people. He's like, what?
Yes.
But I mean, even in the hockey game when he was off and the coach pulled him out and he told Proby to get in there. I mean, like, the respect they have for him. Proby's like, but that's Tommy's thing. Like, what do you want me to do? Yeah.
Yeah, I'd have told that coach to go fuck himself. I'm done. And he's like, I've been playing this game for 7 years. I've been coaching for what, 2 weeks? Are you fucking kidding me? And it's like, no.
You got the number one fan, Troy, up in the stands. What are you doing? You can't take out Tommy Gavin.
Troy was in the audience and he was ready to drop globes. Like, he's not even playing and he's ready to fight.
I love where that scene where Troy's screaming in excitement and then screams in her face. She's like, yeah. And she's like, what the fuck?
All right. I'm ready to wrap this up. Any final thoughts that we've forgotten?
No, I just hope Tommy comes back. He's clearly because of the shit that's going on, the fact that he feels he's not in control. But it's weird because he is in control technically. Like, there are certain points in his life where he's stepping up in a big way, but he's so engrossed by like being demasculated, being the butt of the joke at his own firehouse, not being on top anymore, that he can't see it. So it's I hope same thing, that he really comes back at the end of the season.
I think what I found out this season was the baby's all Gavin. It's Johnny and Tommy.
With that hair though, it's Johnny's.
But that was like one of the funny lines I heard at the beginning of the season. Like that, and also I really want him to find out about Sheila now, because they could still do other shit to keep the story going. It doesn't have to be where Sheila's going to be manipulating him the whole time. I wanted to see where he's actually getting his shit together, but still having his little faults.
There was that one scene where he gets a really good one in on Janet though, right before she walks out with a bottle of wine, and she's like, well, if he's not Johnny's, then whose is he? Whose is he? And Tommy looks at her and is like, you tell me.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, is that a bit of a low blow? Sure, but you were fucking both brothers at the same time to the point of the only identifying characteristic now is the color of the hair to truly know. Like, that's on you. Yep. You were being the promiscuous one.
That's true.
And it wasn't even like they manipulated her. She was fucking the brother, and then she would come over and manipulate him and fuck Tommy. Like,
which she tries to pull that this season too, until Tommy opens up his mouth because his filter fucks up.
Well, Janet's got a problem that I don't even know if we've addressed a ton, that Tommy, in her eyes, can't be with anybody else. Anybody else he's with, he's being a piece of shit by doing so. She could fuck everybody on the block, but as soon as she finds out he's with somebody, it's like, oh, you know, these women you're fucking, and it's like, no. That's not. I mean, how many? We don't even know how many men you went through before the show starts. Mm-hmm. They were separated. They were separated. She said 7 years or some weird number in the therapy. So like, we don't know how many men she's already watched him run through before Roger. And then what we have seen hasn't been very positive. What was it? It was Roger. You've got the Canadian mullet firefighter. You've got his brother. Him. You know, and then like the whole scene where he didn't want to have sex in the bed when she walks in and it's with Marissa Tomei and she's mad. It's like, who the fuck do you think you are to be mad? Like, you're kind of a tramp. Like, sure, is he a slut? Sure, but you're a tramp. To the point of here we are in season 4 and you don't know who the fuck's baby it is because you're a fucking tramp.
We need Maury Povich on there.
Yeah, Tommy, you are not the father. He's like, I knew it. He goes and runs out and she's just like, oh God. Yeah, do the whole thing.
He starts talking, blah, 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 blah.
That would have been a funny dream sequence, though, wouldn't it have, if they did that in the show? Where they did, like, a little 5-minute Maury segment? And then, like, but they would do it Rescue Me style, where the audience would just be filled with his ghosts.
Oh, shit.
Right? Crazy. Tell me about it. That'd have been an awesome scene.
You'd see smoke coming from the back.
Jen, any final thoughts?
Just that I hope Tommy is able to, pull Janet out of this depressive state that she's in. You know, he has so much going on in his life between his kids, Colleen kind of being estranged, work, losing loved ones from work, dealing with all those demons that he has from 9/11, coping with his alcoholism, and he really does a good job this part of the season so far, keeping it together. Like earlier Tommy's in, the earlier seasons, he was just a drunken mess. Now he's learned to control all of that. I think he's learned to control all of that. They don't really show him drinking a ton anymore. So although he hasn't gone to a meeting in quite some time, he's trying to get alternative outlets for those vices that he has. I fucking Sheila, fucking Janet, and yeah, I hope they name that fucking baby though.
Yeah.
That's annoying.
Just name it the fucking baby.
Yeah, fucking baby.
I know.
It's gonna be called Gavin.
Gavin.
Right?
Sir Most Gavinness. Unless she gets it. All right, we're gonna wrap this one up. We'll see you guys next time for the exciting conclusion to season 4. Until then, I will say bye for myself. You guys give a little shout out. Say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.